Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to talk about which World Tournament units you should consider Extreme Z Awakening in DBZ Dokkan battle for the 46th World Tournament. Now the list of EZA World Tournament units gets longer and longer, and I kind of wanted to keep an up-to-date video or guide on which ones you should really prioritize. Now luckily they've done an update in the game that allows you to see which or the EZAs for units in game, which I think helps a lot in terms of tracking who you want to Extreme Z Awaken. Now before you consider that, the only way to Extreme Z Awaken World Tournament units is to get either Hercule's autograph currencies and use them, or to place high enough that you get a bunch of the World Tournament announce medals which you use to Extreme Z Awaken them. So it's a pretty big grind. You're not going to be able to Extreme Z Awaken all of them straight away, and you're only going to be able to EZA some of them slowly over time. So it's super important that you make the right choices in terms of their Extreme Z Awakening. Now we'll start with the Strength Goku GT, who's one of the newer ones to get his Extreme Z Awakening. Now he's a pretty interesting unit, but he is a little bit dependent on having the Space Traveling Warriors category in his team, and this links him a bit more to the DB Seekers side of the Dragon Ball GT era, with units like the GT Trio, the Int LR Trio, the Pan Trunks and Giru unit, and just in general some of the bigger kind of space traveling warrior units that you probably want to utilize. So it is something to consider. He is decent, I would say. His evasion makes him pretty relevant, but a lot of these high placed passives do mean that these units tend to only do well with dupes, as their stats are quite low. Now this Gohan is okay. I think he's one you would consider if you're looking to do maybe a hybrid Sans ESBR or SBR due to his debuffing. He's not necessarily an outright good unit. This Youth Goku is probably going to end up being like the 4th best Youth Goku in the game, behind the new tech free-to-play one, who will become a Goku, Roshi, and Krillin LR. So I think for me, I wouldn't invest in this Goku. He's a fun option, but outside of, you already have the physical Giant Ape one, the physical Youth one, and you have the Int one with his EZA. This Goku just doesn't really feel like he's necessary to kind of function or have. Next we can talk about the Int LR Piccolo, a heavy investment and probably okay as a unit. He's a very interesting option if you have the Bond of Master and Disciple Carnival Gohan. Carnival Gohan's a really good unit to unlocking the full potential of this Piccolo, and the two of them can make a pretty fun pairing for a lot of the mid to high end game content. But if you don't have that Gohan, then honestly speaking it's probably best to not really invest in this Piccolo, as the price warranted for him is just not too fantastic. Next we have this Int Goku, one of the units that kind of falls in line with being a decent support based unit. He's very similar to the Tech Gohan, but a few fundamental differences make it so that he's not nearly as effective in terms of his overall performance. He's not a bad support to have, and his Super Saiyan link set means that he links pretty well, but I just don't think he's necessarily worth outright EZAing. Demon King Piccolo is very similar in functioning to an extreme based unit. He supports extreme category units. His link set's okay, and he can facilitate Piccolo Jr. a little bit, but overall I have to say that again, the way his passive functions, the way his stats function, doesn't necessarily make it so that he's super duper viable. The medium guard and the fact that he doesn't share the necessary crucial links with Demon King Piccolo is a bit of a shame. Lacking some of those crucial links to really elevate him would have made him a really interesting choice. The Vegeta is pretty good. He does have the guard mechanic. He feels a bit better out of the kind of GT selections. Just to me, he feels a little bit better, a bit more nuanced, a little bit more accessible, a little bit kind of easier to facilitate. His link set also suits things pretty well. Big question about him is obviously Shadow Dragon Saga is kind of the category he's directly buffing, and that team is in a complete shambles. But he's still an interesting pick for there. Then we come to the outright best one for me, Tech Gohan. Just think he's a really good support. Obviously AoE events give him a huge problem, but outside of that he's just really good. Excels, great defensively, really solid unit, great in the third slot, facilitates a ton of units in getting them to really look good, and just overall is a fun unit to use and can make a lot of units shine. Very useful support, tons of different types covered, and great from that perspective. Next we have the legendary existence Super Saiyan Goku, competing with a lot of Super Saiyan Gokus, so very difficult for him to find his way onto teams. He can be a good option for teams like Super Saiyan, where he can really help to facilitate some of those units. Legendary Existence, of course, is the team that he's supposed to be supporting. But yeah, definitely feels like Super Saiyan, Legendary Existence do benefit from him. I personally wouldn't go for him straight away, but he is a good little option if you're looking for a support to help out those teams. Then we get AGL Beerus. You definitely need dupes in this guy, and Exploding Rage is just not really in the space to facilitate him. He doesn't have like a Beerus he can link to, and the way he works is he works best on the Exploding Rage team. A good, decent floater that could be of some use in certain situations, but I think Exploding Rage is just too much in a shambles as a category for him to effectively function. Although his personal kit looks very good and is a lot of fun, I wouldn't necessarily suggest it just due to the state of the team that he's actually directly buffing. And then finally we get Bardock, who just doesn't feel very impactful. He honestly just feels kind of average. A good unit, but nothing special that would make me want to pick him out as a unit for you to use. Obviously he can augment your free-to-play Bardock team if that's the way you want to go, but he just doesn't feel super impactful. So yeah, that's it. Obviously for me, top picks, Gohan, number 1 pick, I think really good. Into Piccolo, LR, if you have Gohan, I think that's also a pretty good pick. From there, probably either the GT units feels okay, Vegeta or Goku, probably my next best picks. And then probably would round it out with either Demon King Piccolo, and yeah, that's it, bye.